There we go. Hey. All right, we are live, and I'm gonna go over here and get us going live on the
All right.
Instagram. How you doing, Doc?
Very good. Very good. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our call, our podcast, apparently.
Yes, I know. We need to start one. I'm trying to think of a good name for it. Maybe just the docs, just what the docs ordered.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. What the doctor ordered.
So Dr. Cody and I were talking this morning, and we really wanted to dive in today and discuss what derails us. I think both he and I work with people that have been through a lot of different processes, a lot of different attempts at losing body fat, improving metabolism, really falling in love with their body again, how it works, how it looks. And so many things can get in our way through that journey because it's a hard journey. I mean, it doesn't matter what point you are in behavior change, it's never easy to change. And I know for me, I feel like a therapist a lot of times more than a nutrition coach because it's all the different, barriers and obstacles and temptations and triggers. So we wanted to talk today about the top three things. We agreed there's probably many more than three, but the top three things that really we see in our practice that derail progress, and progress just being body composition changes, fat loss, health improvement. So when we're going along that journey. So what do you think, Doc? What would you say is one of the biggest saboteurs that you experience with your clients?
So if we're talking about, specifically people reaching their goals for their body, and let's just say the goal for the body is health, getting healthy. That's just because that can encompass the whole thing, whether it be building muscle or whether that be, making your immune system strong again or reducing fat or whatever it might be. I think you kind of started saying it, but in 17 years of running a chiropractic office, and I was seeing 325 patients a week, patient visits. And one of the things I really found was that your body is not a cause. Your body is an effect. The entire healthcare medical system wants you to think your body is a cause. And so it causes problems. And so the reason I bring this up as the first one, and for my opinion, is that emotions, unprocessed emotions or experiences, I think are one of the number one things that manifest in the body. And then people spend a long time trying to change their physical body. And so again, your body is a loudspeaker of you. It's a loudspeaker of what's going on inside you. So I'd say one of the top progress killers is not addressing the real cause of the thing you're trying to change.
Yeah. Like resetting the inside hardware so that the program is more effective and whatever changes you make are more effective. I got you. So just looking down the wrong lens as like you're looking to change all the things that don't need to be changed. Yeah, that's a good one. I think for me, impatience is a huge saboteur or progress killers. We just can't stick to something long enough. We want it to be immediate. We want it to be overnight. We want it to be a certain way. And so we just don't give it long enough to really take effect. And to the program or process or approach might have been effective for you. But what I see is people just can't stay in the saddle long enough. So I think impatience is a big progress killer for my clients, at least.
Yeah. I think so you're feeling to impatience. So what exactly is patience?
That's a good question. I mean, I think it's just about not going. I guess when I go there, I'm thinking the quick fix gimmick overnight, the GLP-1s, the things that people are turning to is like, oh, I'm just going to do this. It's just be easier. Instead of choosing a process that's then going to be long-term sustainable. So then they might get that immediate quick fix, but then they can't maintain it. Right. So their impatience actually causes a bigger issue down the road because they try something that's so extreme, so drastic, just want it for $9.99 Amazon delivery. But then it's not an effective solution long term.
Yeah, I think because that's a big topic, but the patience is the cut. So many people think patience is letting things happen, and I found that patience is a close cousin to persistence. And so patience is actually continuing on the path that you're on, continue on towards your goals, and not letting the obstacles sway you. That's true what patience is. It's not waiting for things to happen. And so you could say, someone could expect something to happen sooner. Well, that's an obstacle because you had an unrealistic expectation and you would give up, right? So it's a still thing. So continuing along the path you chose, despite the obstacles along the way, you could say it that way.
Yeah, that's a good explanation of it. Yeah, because again, every approach the approach might be a quicker fix, but you still have to, continue to keep that mindset around like what is the ultimate goal here. It's not just to get there, but it's to be able to change my life, change my health, change my perspective on things. So yeah, I agree with that. What else do you think you see derail your patients or your clients? Let's not say patients because that's confusing since we're just talking about patients.
Right. I want to probably go back and give a few examples for people of the first one because not looking that it's very easy to say not looking in the right area, but I want to give a few visceral examples and I'll give you some like real examples of this. Of here's an example. I had a patient that came to me many years ago, and she had fibromyalgia, MS, both of those, and then there was thyroid problems. And in the consultation, sitting down with her, I asked her, are there any other stressors in her life? And she goes, nope, everything's all good. And whenever someone says that, when someone's got physical symptoms and say there's no stressors, you can call bullshit on that. Because what I found was your body really isn't at the detriment of this physical world. Your body is the loudspeaker of you. So I could tell that when she's been going to doctors, which are so quick to diagnose with fibromyalgia bullshit and the MS bullshit. And I'd done this 100 times before. I've watched people heal from fibromyalgia completely, MS completely. But they healed because it didn't treat fibromyalgia or MS. You'll notice the more you treat a disease, the more you get it. It doesn't go away because you're just treating a disease that some name someone made up. So I began to ask her more questions. No doctor ever asked her these questions about stressors because she had a story, but life is good. Here's what happens. I asked her further and further. And I said, listen, if you don't feel like open up to me, it's fine, but I'm really not going to be able to help you because so far you haven't really dug into what's really causing your problems. And there's no pill that's going to fix you. And so she finally decided to open up and she told me, I said, when did the fibromyalgia and MS start? She said, right after I got married. And I said, what happened when you got married? Oh, nothing. It was we had a great honeymoon. Okay. What happened after you got your honeymoon? Long story short, she finally tells me that the reason she married this guy was because he told her if she doesn't marry him, she's going to kill her kids. And she's telling me this in the visit. Now, this is the thing that no doctor ever thought to ask her because doctors still think, many of our healthcare systems still thinks that your body is a cause. That's when I say looking in the wrong area, that's what I mean. So they had many doctors looking at the fibromyalgia points and trying to find out why our nerves are demyelinating. It was never the case. Your body is communicating something to you. So as we started asking her more and more, what happened was she basically married this guy so her kids would stay alive. Now, can you imagine being in a marriage that you married someone for survival, so your kids can survive? And so then you ask, why would your nerves, MS, why would your nerves be destroying themselves? Why would the myelination be destroying themselves? Because it's physically modeling what you're doing in your life. You physically did something and you're literally destroying yourself. So your body goes, okay, that's what you're going to do. I'm going to do. But the body is doing it from a loving place. It's saying, let me show you what you need to do. You're literally putting yourself in situations where you're destroying, and it's causing pain, fibromyalgia. It's causing pain throughout your life. So
that's so interesting. Have you read The Body Keeps the Score?
A while ago, yes. And I've gone way further down the rabbit hole than that book.
Yeah. It's a similar concept of like your body is basically storing all the trauma, all the things, all the experiences, and potentially manifesting them as pain or illness or emotional, mental health concerns, all the things. So, but yeah, I'm sure that it just scratched the surface of what you've experienced.
It is true. Yeah, and that's really why, because the body is a direct connection from the unconscious mind. So the book was really great and it was accurate. But it's your body literally showing you what's happening inside you. And so people tend to think that they're going to hide things down and suppress parts of themselves, and somehow they're going to get away with it. But the only person that really suffers is themselves, because the body starts. So that's really what when I say that is, when you look at excess fat, when you look at your muscles not building, like you can take all the protein you want, and you can try to do all the like prep stem cells. You could do all the peptides. You could do all the things you want. I've watched men get on testosterone and take testosterone for the next 10 years. And when I ask them, at what point did your testosterone get low? They tell me when. Was there any stressors there? I've had so many men finally go, oh, I never realized. Like, I literally gave my power away. And no doctor ever decided to actually ask them, like, what was going on in your life? It's easier just to give someone, right?
Give them a shot, give them a pill, take care of it.
Exactly.
It's interesting that you bring that up, because I send a weekly newsletter, and this week's newsletter for me was about things that help promote progress, or again, like what are the things that you can do to set yourself up for success. And I was talking about stress and sleep and how much those two things can really either sabotage or promote body fat loss. If you aren't sleeping well, if you're high stress, your body's potentially going to hold on to some of that weight. And I had a very tangible example of a man I was working with. He's in his early 40s. He was high stress. He was wanting to leave his job, but just couldn't pull the trigger. His mom was getting sick and living out of state. He was in the dating game again, and at 40 years old, and not really loving that whole process. And we could not lose any body fat. I tried changing macros. We tried shifting workouts. We tried changing food combinations. Nothing, just stuck. And comes in, because they come see me every 2 weeks. We do body composition and assessment. 5 pounds of body fat gone. And I was like, what's going on? He goes, I put my notice in at work, and I'm moving to Florida to be near my mom. So like taking those two stressors off the table. And like he said, I could literally feel the weight lift. Just when I said, I'm walking away from this job that I hate, and I'm going to be closer to my family and be able to like be there with my mom. It was just like his body just said, okay, sounds good. Let's go. So stress is a huge one. Really is.
That's really big. That's a good story. That's exactly what I'm talking about. And listen, no matter how much we say it, we really should understand is our healthcare system is not wired to help you find the actual cause of the problem. It's the reverse.
Yeah.
And so
it really is.
Yeah, it really is. I have a weight loss patient right now. 2 weeks ago, she's a woman of God, and she basically sits with people. Like, I can't remember what they call them, but they sit with people while they're dying. And it's a very stressful job. Like, it's what you do. And she does it, for a certain church, and she's working long hours. And every time she works long hours, she doesn't lose weight. And then she messaged me, hey, I didn't lose weight. Why not? And I tell her the same thing. You cannot process through fat if you don't get sleep, because your body's going to prioritize brain and vital organ repair, not fat loss. And so the body starts, and it thinks you're in a survival mode, right? So one day she finally sends me a message saying, I just been praying to God. I've been praying. And she's telling me every time I'm praying, and I just keep praying for more energy. And I finally said, stop fucking praying for energy and start praying for sleep. And you don't need more energy. You need sleep. You live in a body, right? And it was so funny. I finally cursed at her, and she was like, oh, I see what you're saying.
She's like, I need to come sit with you for a few hours, Dr. Cody.
God is trying to get you to sleep. God's not trying to get you to have more energy. Right? So,
oh man, yeah. So, but yeah, I think to your point, I think number one is fixing the wrong problem or attacking the wrong problem, and you're not
yeah,
seeing progress.
yep.
Impatience or just
Impatient, number
wanting the
two.
quick fix. Anything else? What do you think?
Yeah, killers of progress. I mean, those two are like those cover so many things.
Yeah.
I guess you could say a third one could be. I guess it could be a third one. Let's figure out how to say this. um, Unrealistic expectations.
Mhm.
And I don't mean by, I'm not saying setting goals too high. What I'm saying is comparing yourself to someone else.
That was
Yeah.
what I was gonna say. I
Yeah.
was gonna say comparison. That was my third one.
Yeah.
So yeah,
There's
agreed.
I was at a business conference, I don't know how many, 8 years ago. And I don't know if this guy meant it this way, but he said something so profound. I was running an Amazon business at the time. And he said, stop comparing your insides to someone else's outsides. And I was like, I heard him say that. I'm like, what the hell does that mean? And he explained, it was so good. He explained all of us are living inside our body internally. We have all these sort of criticism and judgments and all the perceptions about ourselves. But when we look at someone else, you're not looking at someone else's insides, you're looking at their outsides. What I mean by that is people will show you their outsides. So when you see someone who's financially successful, you don't see what they're like on the inside. So we will let you compare how we feel to how someone else looks.
Yeah.
And social media is a big one, Doc.
I was
Like,
gonna say, yeah, with social media,
yeah.
it's like all you see is the outside, and you have no idea what their life really has to look like to be or maintain the lifestyle they're presenting to the
Yeah,
world. Yeah.
exactly. I have many different friends and acquaintances that I watch online, and for me, I have very deep connections with my friends around me, and I mean, we'll get on calls and they're having a lot of trouble with their spouse, and we've got to, I love being able to clear some of the energy, but they're really having a big rough time with them, and we get off the phone, and I'll see 2 hours later, there's a picture of them, on the beach going, "Love you forever," and,
You're like,
and I'm like, yeah. So, but I'm not judging those people. I'm just saying it's natural. It's our human state to show everyone, look how cool I am. But literally 2 seconds before that, you're fucking fighting with that person you just posted about, right?
Yeah. Or it's just, I think it almost makes you feel better a little bit. Like when you post something positive, even if you're deep in the depths of whatever it is you're dealing with, but you can put positive energy to the world. It is kind of like a fake it till you make it experience. Like, okay, I'm going to just be happy for this moment and, show something positive. But yeah, comparison. And, I find with my clients, it's not always comparison to others. It's comparison to former self. I get a lot of, but I used to weigh this. Before babies, it was this. I used to not have a problem with, I used to love working out. It's like you're comparing to the previous version of yourself, and that can be really demotivating and derailing because you may never be that again. I mean, once somebody's had 3 babies, there may never have a 6-pack again. Once, people have a high level career and they're traveling all the time and they don't have time to meal prep and do all the things all the time, it might not be as easy. So I think a comparison can look a lot of different ways, but regardless, it steals our joy.
Yeah, there was, I used to, back when I was as a teenager, I loved bodybuilding, and I read Arnold Schwarzenegger's autobiography, and it was really good. But one of he's a 7 or 8 time Mr. Olympia and very successful in his careers. And one of the things that he said that set him apart from everyone else was everyone else around the gym was sort of looking at someone else and comparing themselves to it. So in other words, let me get my chest bigger or my shoulders bigger based on what I see out there. And he said, I only looked in the mirror, and when I saw my chest and my shoulders, I wanted to get it bigger than the guy I saw in the mirror. And so what I was going to say was, if you put attention on comparing to your current self, then it's like, man, if I actually improved a little bit, most people don't stop inside their wins. I'll literally have people lose 10 pounds of fat in 20 days, and they'll literally be unhappy because they have 10 more pounds to lose. And so it's like, who are you actually, like you're saying, who are you actually comparing yourself to? Yeah. Like, what do you, who on the outside of you? And so I think if you want to compare, it's like, how from where I am right now, what happened from the day before? It's like, I actually had an improvement, or I had to do regression, but that would be an accurate assessment versus what happened 2 years ago. What I think is going to happen 2 years from now.
Yeah. Yeah. Or I like to call them non-scale victories. If I have a patient or client that's not seeing immediate results or not getting there as quickly as they would like, or has hit a plateau, then we shift our focus from the number progress to saying like, but how are you sleeping? How are your workouts feeling? Are you eating better quality food? Do you know you're nourishing your body more appropriately? Like, those are victories. Those are habits. Those are processes that are going to last regardless of what's happening on those numbers. So I think just to not let it derail you. If you're struggling in this bucket, like, shift your focus to some other areas that you are doing really well. And that can help you stay motivated as well, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, that those are really powerful. So what do we say? So, not truly addressing root causes, number one. Number two, really not dropping into patience, and maybe setting some expectations and realistic expectations. And three, is what do we say for three? The
comparison, just staying within yourself. Like, and to your point, I agree. Like with the Arnold Schwarzenegger example, I think that's great. Like, it's good at some level to compare to your current self, because you need to see things are progressing, and you need to see what, be honest still with yourself of like, what am I not doing? Right. So you can do a little bit of self-evaluation or comparison to current self, but just not trying to either compare to others or compare to former self, where that might just not be realistic at this point.
Exactly. I think if we were to add one more, since we're at three, but I would really say not having the skill set of appropriately taking a win, I think is a big killer of progression. And so,
like, you don't applaud your victories.
You don't acknowledge your victories. And so you have 30 pounds to lose, and you lose 5, and you're more worried about the 25. You haven't actually sat in love and appreciation that you've lost 5, because that is what that puts so much pressure on self. So that is, I spend most of my days asking someone, did you just sit in like appreciation, or do you appreciate that you just lost a pound in one day? And people go, no, I actually didn't. I just moving on. So on the pursuit of your goals, most people are waiting till they get to the goal to feel love and appreciation. And that diverts the whole purpose of actually going for a goal. It diverts the purpose of life, because you'll notice when you get your goal, you aren't happy.
There's got to be more. What's next? What's next?
Never. Yeah. So that's a really big thing, I think, for all of us to kind of go, have I sat in my daily win? I have a checklist that I follow every day. It's a Google checklist. And the first thing on my checklist is this: what was a win from yesterday? And the reason it's on my checklist is because it's not innate to go and find the wins. It's innate to find the losses. My brain can find the losses, no problem. I have to literally go and look. I have to pull up the calendar and go, what was the win? Oh my God, I forgot I had a great call. I have to be forced to find the win.
Yeah, that's human nature. I mean, you look at the number of negative self-talk moments a day versus positive self-talk, or how many comments we say to ourselves negatively. And I used to see this a lot. My master's is in sports psychology. So I used to work with youth athletes a lot, just on the mental skill set of sport and competition. And it was so amazing to me. I could sit with a 12, 13-year-old athlete, and I could say, like, what do you bring to the table? Like, what are the things, your strengths? What are you good at? What are your attributes? They couldn't think of anything. I'd say, what do you need to work on? What are your areas of improvement? What do you feel like? Oh, well, I'm not fast enough. I should be doing this. I should be doing this. I mean, they'd rattle off all the things that they could do better. at that age even, and it doesn't get any different
Yeah.
as we get older, but it's like we are so easy to pick ourselves apart, but to appreciate
Yeah.
and applaud and offer gratitude is just hard for us to do that. So I think
Yeah.
that's true.
Exactly. Like, yeah, I like, yeah, you can usually even ask yourself in the moment is like, hey, what's what's great about the day and what's bad about the day. And like, the reason our brain is so wired, it is wired for us to find what's wrong because the brain is helping us survive. So
Mm.
it thinks of it, if it identifies dangers, then it's going to help us actually survive.
Yeah.
So thank you, brain, for doing that. And that's why we also train ourselves to go, cool. Then what was also like a win for the day as well. So I can
Yeah.
actually be appreciated. It's a very different energy of attraction when you're in appreciation for the little things that are winning throughout the day,
Mm.
instead of the energy of it's taking me forever to get where I want to go,
Yeah. I call them my yays of the day. So every day I'm like, if something that makes me just go, oh, yay. And I'm like, that's my yay of the day. It could be little, like, oh, my Amazon package got here. Yay. Or,
Oh,
yay,
okay.
I got to
Okay.
sleep 30 more minutes. Yay. And then I just make a
Nice.
little list of my yays of the day that just help me remember like little
Yeah.
things that bring me joy. It doesn't have to be some life altering, amazing something. It could just be
Yep.
something little that just made me smile or get excited or, whatever it is. And it's just been such a great exercise for me because I'm kind of a catastrophic thinker of like, this little thing is my world is over. This is the worst thing ever. To just step back and realize, look how many yays I had today. Like there were a lot of good things amidst maybe a few crummy things.
I think that's yours is truly the feminine version, yays for the day, of my masculine, where are my wins. So
Yeah,
that's perfect. I like that. We version that.
exactly. That's right.
So
That's right. The
nice. I
little
like those. This is good. Good topic.
for sure. All right, Doc. So we'll be back next week. But just to recap, I think we would agree you got to look at the root of the problem. You got to stop comparing. You got to be patient. And you got to start looking at
Take
the
your wins. Take your
wins.
yays.
Take your wins. That's right. All right. Thanks, Doc. See you soon.
Nice job.
All
All
right.
right.
Bye.
See you, everybody. Bye-bye.